Hey. Okay. So the second book in the series is called I just looked it up. It's like a court of wings and fury. And I have to explain some things to you that I absolutely skipped over. So this is a world where there are people with magic and people without magic, right? So the people with magic are called the Fae, Fae, and they are organized in like a feudal system, right? So there's a lord of each thing. I barely touched on it. Like Dawn, the Dawn Court, the Night Court, the Spring Court. So the Spring Court is where Tamlin is, and that's where Feyre is. And the Night Court is where Rhys is. I don't think I ever told you his name, but the guy who helped Feyre when she was doing the trials and was like, now you have to spend 2 weeks with me. Not for sex reasons, just because, like, regular reasons, I guess, was his argument, was like, I'm evil, so I just want to take you away from Tamlin. So that's all happening, and the source of magic, the thing that gives the Dawn Court the powers of dawn and etc. Which, again, Feyre now has a little drop of everything. So she's got a little drop of spring and summer and night and dawn and day and all of that. Because she died, and they all saved her because she saved them from Amarantha, who was, like, the dictator, basically, who was holding Rhys hostage as, like, a sex slave and a substitute for Tamlin, who she actually wanted as a sex slave, who refused to, like, give himself up to save others, because he was like, no, whatever, I'll fight this from the outside. And Rhys was like, fine, I'll do it, like, I'll fuck the hot baddie, even though I obviously don't want to. Sorry, I live in Philly. What do you think it is? Siren, probably bats. Huge bat problem. And I don't mean there's a lot of bats everywhere. I mean, we have huge bats. They've been terrorizing the townspeople. Kind of like a Gotham situation, except the bats are not helping us, which, good for them. We don't deserve help. Okay. Oh my god. Speaking of bats. Oh my god, I'm so excited. Okay, so we start this new novel, and Feyre's in the Spring Court. It's always spring. It's always twilight, I think. It might be dawn. I think it's twilight. I think it's always twilight, which honestly doesn't make sense to me. It's always like a little bit whatever. Yeah. Oh, so they all have these powers, and the powers come from the cauldron, right? So there's, like, I'm going to be honest. I've read these books, and there's definitely real, actual things to it, but I like the kissing parts. So when they do the real whatever, the point is, there's a magic system, right? And the reason that all of these special lords and their feudal system have powers, they are coming from the cauldron. The cauldron is like the source of magic. It's a literal thing. In fantasy novels, like in writing, they call it the MacGuffin, right? So there's, like, some magical thing that you need to get. So, like, maybe there's a sword and it's the MacGuffin that you have to get, or like in this case, they don't need to, anyway, the cauldron is magic. It's the source of all magic. It's where magic flows from, and he who controls the cauldron has ultimate power, I think. The other thing is, so there's the Fae, and they have all the, like, seasonal and nature powers, and they are magical. And then there's there's people, there's humans. And there's a wall that separates them that's been up since the Fae gave up humans as slaves. They were like, fine, we won't keep humans in slavery anymore, but, like, keep them over there. Like, I don't want to look at the vermin. And if they don't want to be enslaved, then they shouldn't come over here. So on the human side, there's 7 kings and queens. Are they just queens? I don't remember. I think they might all be queens. I don't remember. Okay, but there's gotta be, it doesn't matter. So there's like the 7 human royals, and they are the ones that like negotiate with the Fae. I should really have read these books more closely. So anyway, there is a human power structure, and it is separate from the Fae power structure. And the Fae are essentially immortal and unkillable, right? So one of the few things that can weaken and kill them is ash, like ash wood from ash trees. So they like the humans start like growing ash groves again, right? But like in secret, because the Fae had burned all the ash groves, and the humans are starting to like try to come up with like a bit of a defense or something. I don't know if that's even covered. But as of the beginning of this book, Feyre is in the Spring Court with Tamlin, and all of their masks are gone. So like he and his whole court are back, like things are normal again. He is the Lord of the Spring Court. He's a little traumatized. He's kind of an asshole, but like always has been, right? And his best friend Lucien, who is like an estranged one of the sons of the Autumn Court. There are questions about his paternity, which makes sense. Or maternity? I think it's paternity. You obviously know like who the mother was. It's paternity. That's how that works. We're pretty sure your kids are yours because you're the one who was full of them. Ew, I've never thought of that before, and I hate it. Some of my new friends are having babies, and the idea of their babies makes me cry, and the reality of their babies makes me scared. Just like, I don't know, what if that baby needs something? Like, what if Shiloh needs something from me and then I can't? It doesn't matter. That's not what this is about. This is about magic. This is about magic. Okay, so Feyre's in the spring court with Tamlin. Tamlin's best friend and number one is Lucien. He is missing an eye. He's a redhead, but he has like a gold eye patch, and he is, by all accounts, very hot. The Autumn Court has like fire magic. I think Lucien can do magic, like fire magic. I'm not totally. He can. He seems to be like formidable, but also he's like meh. Like he has older brothers and they're really intense. Like he was kind of the one who was like, I don't want to, like my father's ruthless and cruel, and so are my brothers, and like I don't want to live like that. He became friends with Tamlin, and Tamlin was like, leave your family, come live in the Spring Court, and you could just be like a regular person and my friend, and like you don't have to like kill or be killed here. And then Tamlin, again, I don't know if you remember this, but he turns into the Beast from Beauty and the Beast. That's his power. But he's got a temper like the Beast from Beauty and the Beast. And he was under a spell in the last book, like the Beast from Beauty and the Beast, where everyone in his court had gone to a masquerade, and then their masks all got stuck to their face until Feyre tried to stab Tamlin to sacrifice him and 2 other people who she already killed in order to save everybody, but Tamlin's heart was encased in stone, so she didn't kill him. And Amarantha was like, fuck, you won. So then she killed Feyre, and then Tamlin killed Amarantha. And then all of the High Lords came together and gave a little bit of magic to Feyre to bring her back to life. So now she's got all this magic in her. Nobody knows what it means. And she's just like at the Spring Court with Tamlin. And Tamlin is obviously, he's been going through this for all these years where he had to like continuously send out his friends to like get killed by like a woman so that whatever she could come back and save him, kind of like a Beauty and the Beast thing, I think. So like, but he's conflicted because he was like, whatever, he's sad boy broody. And so she had made this deal, whatever, Reese gets to have her for 2 weeks. And so she's with Tamlin, and he's like, you know, stressed out because he's like, you were on death's door. I couldn't do anything to stop it. I couldn't even help you because it would have put you more at risk during the trials. So like, he's overly protective now. He's like not even being considerate, and he's basically just like, here's a bunch of beautiful dresses and a bunch of diamonds, and like, feel free to make all the dresses you want. And like, you know, she loves to paint. He made her a little gallery. He's like, paint all you want to, have that. Just like, enjoy being fucking rich and knowing that your dad and your 2 sisters are like safe on the human side of the wall, none the wiser. Because he like wiped all their memories and was like, your sister went to take care of your aunt across the ocean. Your aunt like died and left you all this money, and that's why you're all safe now. So as far as Feyre is concerned, they're on the other side of the wall, like the human side, and they're perfectly fine. They're happy. They have money again. Everybody's safe. They don't know anything happened. They think Feyre's safe, and everybody's happy. But she knows that things are brewing, so she's starting to get worried because it's about to get confusing. Like, I've made any of this there. So Amarantha, who was like the big bad from the first book, who had done the curse and enslaved people, she enslaved Reese and made him her sex slave, and she did the masks to Tamlin and that whole thing. And she had this ring that had a person in it. It was literally his physical eyeball, but like his soul was captured in it. His name was Jurian. Don't love it, but it's literally Julian with an R. And he had been, this is where fantasy starts to lose me because I have ADHD. Jurian was the human lover of a fae, like, princess, or there aren't princesses or queens or whatever. There's only high lords. I don't know. To which she was like important, whatever. She was powerful and whatever. And they fell in love, and that's like fucked up, right? Because I think it's always supposed to be about race and like miscegenation, but like we really haven't advanced past the like basic conversation about like the races should be able to integrate through marriage. It doesn't matter. That's a separate listen. If you really want it, I'll make you a separate video all about my actual literary theory analysis of these books. It's unnecessary. I barely remember what the books are about. Anyway, so right, it was like Jurian was a human, and whoever she was not a human, and she was all fancy, and they fell in love. And then I think Jurian betrayed her in order to like promote human fae relations, or vice versa, or something. And then they were separated, and then Amarantha enslaved Jurian's soul into this ring. So he like doesn't exist, but he kind of doesn't exist, and it's, I think, his literal eye, but it's in jewelry, so it doesn't seem like slimy. They never mention slime or like goo or anything. I don't think it's gooey. So why am I telling you this? Oh, because people are getting kind of stressed out. So like Tamlin ends up having to meet, now that everybody's free again and Amarantha's not in charge, all of the High Lords are like meeting again and trying to like remake alliances and like figure out what to do, because there's rumblings that the humans are going to try to like overtake the Fae, go to war with them as like revenge for the thousands of years of subjugation that humans faced under Fae rule, where they were made like slaves, right? And they're like, fuck this wall. we don't feel safe with just a wall between us and you having all of the fucking power. So, like, they're growing ash trees. There's whole groves now. Like, shit's getting real for the humans. And so the Fae are like, listen, we know that there's these 7 human, like, king queens. I think they're all queens. Don't know why I can't remember. I do know why I can't remember. Listen, she wrote 3 series and they're kind of intertwined. Not my fault. That's on her. So, also, again, ADHD. Like, details, not my best. Like, the vibe. I feel like you're definitely getting the vibe of these books through these videos. So they have to, so everybody's getting, like, a little hype. They're like, I think there's treachery, like, somebody's working with the humans know too much, like, we can't, like, we don't want anyone to be, like, the first aggressor, like, that whole thing, right? So Tamlin's, like, getting overly protective, and Feyre's starting to be like, hey, man, like, I would just, like, love to be allowed to be a person, right? So, like, she befriends Lucien, and she's like, hey, I would like to be a person. And he's like, I know, it's just, like, you gotta give Tamlin a little bit of leeway because he's very, like, he's a little stressed right now, right? He's, like, he's going through it. He, like, just failed at a bunch of shit, and he feels bad about himself, and he always has, and his dad was mean to him or whatever, so, like, he's doing his best. And Feyre's like, all right, cool, I'll try to be chill about it. And the time comes where, like, apparently there used to be, okay, so I think the last time I told you about the, like, annual Tamlin has to fuck someone because he's, like, it's like a fancy Fae drink that, like, makes you horny, and he has to fuck someone for something, for, like, because spring and renewal, I guess, and, like, birth, probably something like that. But he, like, goes into the wine trance or whatever. So, like, that has happened. And another one of those things that happens is, like, a tithe, right? So, like, every year, the people that live in his, like, fucking duchy, like, he's the lord, so it's a duchy would be, like, the demesnes that a duke oversees. And I think a lord has a county. Nope, that would be a count, right? I don't know what a lord is in charge of. I have no idea. Because it's not like a, like, landlord, right? But, like, that's not specific. Like a duke gets a duchy, and a count gets a county, and a lord gets a lord. I'll look it up later. Anyway, so the people that belong to the spring court pay a tithe, and essentially, like, they're coming up and they're like, here are all of my turnips and now I'm poor. And he's like, yep, this is a tradition. And so there's, like, water nymphs kind of thing, like they're like water sprites. And they're like, we can't pay you. And he's like, well, go fuck yourself because you have to. And Feyre's like, we don't, like, need the money. Like, you've given me 12,000 silk dresses and, like, 80 grand in jewelry this week, and, like, I don't want any of it. So, like, why are we charging people who have nothing? So she gives her jewels to the water people, and they use those jewels to pay their tithe. And Tamlin's like, you can't do that. Like, it's tradition. The whole point is, like, you got to do it. And she's like, okay, well, we've all been under, like, intense stress and you don't need it. So, like, what's the value actually in, like, forcing people to give up what they don't have? And he's like, listen, I know you're new here, but, like, you look really pretty in these dresses, not covered in dirt and incredibly poor. So I gotta go. You stay here and paint. And so Feyre's getting really thin, and everybody's like, oh, you're really thin, and it's so sad. And so then Rhys comes, and he's like, it's time. You have to come to the night court with me for 2 weeks. And he takes her back to the night court, and she's expecting, like, demons and stuff. And I think there aren't any. I'm going to be honest, I don't really remember this part. I think he just brings her back to a house, and she's, like, expecting it to be scary. And he's like, this is just, like, your room, whatever. And then he's like, I know you can't read, so do you like want to? And she was like, fuck you, I can't believe you're trapping me here. So he starts sending her like magical notes where she's in bed and she gets a note that's like helping her learn how to read and write. So eventually he's like teaching her how to do it and like giving her little assignments where she'll like get back to her room and there's like a note that he's magically sent there that says like, Rhys is the most handsome Fey Lord or something. And she's like, but she writes it out over and over until she knows how to write. And then she's like learning how to write. And he's teaching her how to read by being really like arrogant and hot about it. And she likes it, but she can't admit that she likes it. And so while she's there, she's like getting happy and learning how to read, and she's like eating and like feeling good and exercising. And then the 2 weeks is up and she gets sent back to the spring court. And she gets there and Tamlin's like, oh my God, I'm so glad you're back. That was so fucked up. I can't believe you had to do that. That's so horrible. And she's like, yeah, no, it was really bad. Even though she's like, actually, that was pretty sick. I liked it there. Everybody seems kind of nice. And it's not stressful, and they were super cool to me. But she like she knows that Tamlin and Rhys are like lifelong enemies. And by lifelong, I mean, I think they used to be friends and then something happened. Oh, they were friends. And then I think Tamlin got like a little like meh. Like he was a little like too good for everybody else. And Rhys was like, okay, well, people are suffering, so like let's just do what we can. And Tamlin was like, well, maybe people should be, or whatever. And then Amarantha was like, I need a fucking consort. And Tamlin was like, I would never. And Rhys is like, I would do anything to keep my people safe. So, like, I'll do it. And so they kind of hate each other because Tamlin's like, oh, you sold yourself out to Amarantha and became her whore. And Rhys is like, you let everyone suffer so that you wouldn't have to. I think you can see where this is all going. Anyway. So Feyre goes back to Tamlin, and Tamlin's like getting more and more paranoid because the human thing is like amping up, and he doesn't like Rhys, and like there's rumors, and Feyre's like worried about her family, right? She's like, I know that you said they're safe. I know that you said they don't remember. I'm just like, I know that things are really stressful right now between the Fae and the humans, and I do not... Like, I don't want to worry about it. Can I just, like, I want to go see my family. And Tamlin's like, you can't leave. Like, you can't go beyond the borders. Like, you gotta stay here. It's too unsafe. So eventually one day she, like, talks Lucian into taking her for, like, a horseback ride. She's like, can we just... I gotta get out of this house. You gotta just let me, like, go. I need to look at trees or whatever. And so I think Lucian, like, lets her out. And she goes by herself, maybe, or whatever. She gets in the woods, and she's alone. And she decides to trap this creature called the Suriel. Or the creature called the Suriel is bad and will find you. And... okay, the Suriel can kill you, for sure. But if you trap it, it has to tell you the truth. Something like that. So whatever, she traps it and she's like, hey, essentially, like, I'm worried about my family. What's going to happen? Like, you got to tell me, like, what do I do? And the Suriel's like, stay with the High Lord. You'll be safe. And she's like, sick. Stay with Tamlin. Got it. This might have happened in the last book. Not the point. Ooh, actually, yeah. I think it did happen in the last book. And so she does it again, right? She's like, hey. Just like checking in. I know you said stay with the High Lord, and yeah, that so far has worked out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, everybody's free and Amarantha's gone, and like, that's cool. But like, I am worried about my family though, and I'm not allowed to leave. And I kind of like ran off, and Tyrion's gonna be like pretty pissed about it. But like, what am I supposed to do? Like, my family is in like limbo essentially. I don't know how they are. And I don't have any idea what the Suriel said to her about it, but they did form like a little bit of a bond. And the Suriel was like, girl, you gotta stop doing this. Like, it is insane to try to trap me once, like, much less like you're successful once and then you come back out here again like, hey, another question, like, stop. You're being so crazy right now. Something about a cloak too. I don't know. The Suriel wants a cloak. Feyre gave the Suriel a cloak. And it was good, and it was like a good exchange, and that's why the Suriel didn't kill her or something. But at this point, the Suriel is sort of like amused by Feyre. It's like, I am a nightmare creature. This is the second time you've literally caught me to be like, oh my god, hey, I have a question, which is like brave and so stupid that she's like, you obviously have something else going on. So like, what do you need help with? Because like, you're gonna need help. And so she's kind of like, you know, I'm worried about my family. I'm not allowed to go see them. And the Suriel's like, I don't know, stay with the High Lord, like, fuck off and good luck or whatever. Again, don't have any idea what the Suriel said to her that time or whether those were two separate times. So she eventually tries to get loose. She like wants to go see her family, right? And Tamlin's like, you can't. Everything's in peril. You're the most precious thing to me. If anything happened to you, I would die, so I can't let anything happen to you, so you can't leave. And he locks her in the house, literally, and she like loses it. No, he gets mad at her. Sorry. This is what the outside of my window looks like. This is just, look at those people. Who are they? I don't know. So, yeah, Tamlin's like, stop trying to leave. You're being unreasonable. Stay in this fucking house. And then he loses his shit. And he destroys a room that she's in. Like, they get in a fight and he loses his temper. And he turns into the beast and he, like, destroys a whole room. And she's only safe because she used, like, all of the powers of all of the High Lords to, like, protect herself in, like, a dome of, like, snow and air and flame and water or whatever. So, he, like, destroys the room. And she is, like, picked up by someone called the Morrigan. It's a lady. She's hot and fun. And she's like, I'm getting her out of here. So she takes her and she brings her back to the Night Court. And Rhys is like, hey, I'm super chill, of course. But, like, what's up? And can I be of any assistance? And we're actually just going to, like, keep you here and you're going to be chill. And then she starts making friend with Mor, who is, like, they say something about the truth teller, but basically she was, like, raised in the Night Court, and I don't know. Girl, this is so much. This is such a crazy thing to try to explain to you, because there's so many things that have absolutely nothing to do with what I'm telling you about and are absolutely vitally important to you understanding what I'm telling you about. So everybody's, like, a different thing, right? So Feyre is a human woman at the beginning. And then when she's killed by Amarantha and she's given, like, a little drip of magic from all of the lords, she becomes a fae. So she's, like, extra pretty and her ears are pointy. And the Night Court is, like, demon creatures. Like the end of Fantasia. Like, with the leathery bat wings and, like, that kind of thing. And right, like, Tamlin turns into the Beast from Beauty and the Beast, and, like, the Autumn Court can do fire, and they are all redheads, and, like, the Day Court are all, like, white-haired, dark-skinned, like, gorgeous, and yeah, there's, like, the Ice Court, or what, like, the Winter Court, and they're probably Scandinavian. I don't know. You kind of hear more about the Day Court because the king had died in the previous book, and they had a new one, and he's very hot and flirty, and everyone's, like, a little bit interested in him. And also they're like, he's new, so he doesn't have old prejudices, so, like, maybe we can get him on our side to, like, help us out with stuff, but also he's, like, kind of hot. So anyway, at the Night Court, the Morrigan comes to get her, and the Morrigan is, they call her Mor, and she's, like, one of Rhys's best friends, Reese has Cassian, who is like big and hot, and Azriel, who is like thin and hot, and then Moore, who is like pretty hot, and then the other one, and I really like her. She's mean and hot. So they're all like tough warriors, but they're Illyrian, so they have bat wings. And it turns out that Reese also has bat wings, but he can hide them because people don't know that he's half Illyrian because they're considered like mongrels. There's like a whole animal human thing. So like the closer to a shifter you are, the less human you are. Like if you have animal features, you can't hide, I think. Which again just feels incredibly like lazy as a racial coding, but I guess also like how are you going to talk about it? So like Reese can hide the fact that he has wings, but Cassian and Azriel, his best friends, they're like brothers. They like went through it. They had to do their like climb a mountain, don't get killed puberty test together. They're like besties. The other two can't hide their wings, so like, you know, the fact that Reese can means he stands a chance at more legitimacy. So he's always like kind of like Mr. Ice Cold, untouchable. Like he's constantly brushing an invisible piece of lint off his black suit. Like his hands are in his pockets. He's not ruffled. But obviously he's in love with Feyre. He's like crazy in love with Feyre. And Feyre is just learning how to read, you know? She is now no longer human. She can do wind and cold and stuff. She's trying to learn how to use her powers. She's not doing a good job. Reese is trying to teach her how to use her powers. Tamlin doesn't want to help her. So, like, you know, she's dealing with a lot. And then she's also worried about her family. So eventually, Tamlin literally locks her up. So like every time she goes back to the Spring Court, she becomes so frail and thin. And that's how Reese knows she's unhappy, because God forbid a woman just eat Milanos and get fat. And everyone's like, she's really puffy and fat. She seems sad. I haven't seen her eat anything but donuts for a month and a half. Somebody should intervene. They're always like, she's so frail. I can see her cheekbones. So it doesn't matter. Okay, anyway. So Tamlin and Feyre have been planning a wedding. I forgot to tell you all about this. So there's a wedding. They're planning a wedding. And there's a high priestess of the whatever religion of whatever. And she's all like dressing Feyre up like a little Barbie, and she's like, you're gonna be the perfect little princess bride, and we're gonna love you, and everybody's gonna love it, and this is their like puffy dress, and Feyre's like, none of this is me, but like whatever, go along to get along. And Tamlin's like, all I want is like a tiny, perfect, quiet little bride. Like, it's been stressful. I'm trying to just like know that the person I love is like inside a room somewhere, not getting murdered. Which seems fair if you don't think about the fact that the person inside a room not getting murdered is a person. So Feyre's like in her puffy wedding dress, unhappy. Ianthe, the high priestess that's been like pushing all of this, is just like, yes, do it. This is what we need to happen. And Feyre's walking down the aisle, and she's like, please get me out of this. And she and Reese have a psychic connection. And so halfway down the aisle, the storm claps and she's rescued, right? She's brought back to the Night Court, and she's like, I'm not going back. They want to keep me in a little bubble. Like, he tried to trap me. I can't stay there. I'm going crazy. And Reese is like, okay, cool. Hear me out. I need you to be like a double agent. So like, I need you to like find out what's up. I don't really know what's up. I think maybe Tamlin was like, maybe working with like one of the human kings who was like trying to do something. I think maybe Tamlin's working with somebody who wants to, like, just murder all the humans. And Reese is like, we can live in peace. And it turns out he's right. Obviously. Right? So, like, Feyre's going back and forth for a while, and then eventually she's just like, this is trash. He's never going to get better. Like, it's gone too far. Get me out of here. And she and Reese are in love, and